I'm Madman Pondo. And if you're not tuning in to Drinking at Moe's, I will come to your house and pull your fucking larynx out.
All right, everybody, welcome to Drinkin Mo's host, Big Mo here. Be sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff on YouTube because it helps with that pain in the ass algorithm. We're on Apple, Google, pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts. Today, I have with me the legend, Madman Pondo.
What
How
up?
you doing?
What up? I don't know about that legend word. I think I'm just a jack off that's been around too long, you know?
No, man, you've had one hell of a career right now. And thing I like to start off with everybody with, because everybody's got their own story on this. What got you started as a fan? And then what got you started, making the jump into the business?
So, my family, I'm the only one that acts like me and my whole family. And we would go to not my grandparents, but my great-grandparents' house on Sunday in Fairfield, Illinois. And everything was, quiet, calm. But come 6 or 7, I can't remember, CWA, which became USWA later, Jerry the King Lawler, Bill Dundee, Moondogs, all that. Well, next thing I knew, my great-grandparents would be watching TV, and there'd be some dirty motherfuckers or sons of bitches on there. Well, me and my brother found that hilarious. So that's what got me to be a fan of professional wrestling. And I've been going to live events and watching wrestling ever since. And then, so in my hometown, I'm from a small town called Flora, Illinois, and there's like 5,000 people in the whole town. Well, I worked at a video store, and right across the way, an oil guy named Milt Smith also was a teacher at Olney Central College. And he came in to rent videos one day. He said, hey, Pondo, I have a wrestler in my class. I said, oh my God, get that guy's telephone number. And he said, why are you want to go to the matches? I said, no, I'm going to see if I can for this dude's school. Milt, it was a scuffling hillbilly, Terry Runyon. Milt got me the phone number. I started school that very next week and been doing it. First match, June 24th, 1989. I've been doing it ever since. Never said that word quit, because I know I'll just look stupid when I get back in the ring.
Yeah, you always hear of those people that say they're retiring and then they end up coming back.
Let me tell you something about that word, retire. I don't know why independent wrestlers think that makes them feel so much better or whatever to say the word retire. We don't get a 401k. We don't get a gold watch. We fucking quit. But that's just me. I don't know.
No, you have a point. Even the people that go on to the national stages like WWE or now AEW, I mean, there's no real retirement plan in it.
Yes.
But talked about, you've had one hell of a long career. There's some of the places that you've been to that when doing and taking notes for the show, a few in particular came up in mind because one, Big Japan. Now, when it comes to like deathmatch wrestling, Japan, I have some DVDs of it. The shit over there is just nuts.
The what is? I'm sorry.
Big Japan. When it comes
yeah. I was
like,
in Big Japan from 2000 to 2008, and then I went back for one more show in 2017. 43 times there and back.
Nice. And I've only ever, when I was in the Navy, we got anchored off the shores of Japan once. Didn't get to go on there, but Japan's always been a place I've wanted to go. But I've seen, like I've mentioned in some of the DVDs of matches that I've seen, their death match scene over there is just insane.
Well, they was number 2. Puerto Rico is the one who started them. And then Victor Quinones took it to Japan, FMW.
Yeah.
And then America, we were number 3, which is also me, because in America there was Axel Rotten, there was Piece of Shit Rotten, and then I was number 3. I was number 3 to be doing death matches like they're supposed to be done in America. So I think that's a pretty good record.
I would say so. And you bring up a good point of like how it should be done, because there's a lot of those places that do deathmatch style that they almost get their wrestling compared to, kind of a black eye in the backyard type stuff. And it's like, oh, it's only that. But then you get places here in the States that, I mean, they do run it the way, it's not just you get a handful of light twos, you get a handful of light twos and just smack the shit out of each other.
Did you by any chance catch me and Matt Tremont from January, New Year's Day?
I did.
Did you realize that me and Matt didn't swing one light tube?
Now that I think back on it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, so you swing 1 tube, you get a pop. You swing 2, 3, 4, you get a smaller pop. By the time you get to 88, 90, 95, nobody gives a shit anymore. So the art form of it is do moves through those tubes, and that's exactly what we did. Well, I will tell you this. I'm glad they got that cinder block to the head, because that shit ain't never going to happen again. Fuck.
Oh, boy, yeah, I can imagine. I had actually scheduled to have Matt Tremont on, but busy man that he is, we're looking like having to reschedule. It was supposed to happen last week, but I'm still looking forward to hopefully getting him rescheduled. But pardon me, my dogs are acting crazy.
No,
we got a not even a year old Great Dane puppy right now, so
I got you.
She's having a run with our 2 English bulldogs.
Gotcha.
But back to it. Another place that you've been known for, CZW. They kind of got away from deathmatch for a little bit, but it looks like they're starting to kind of get back in there, having the tournament of death.
My thinking on that is CZW for the longest time was a deathmatch company.
Yep.
Then they tried to change it back to pro wrestling. Nobody gave a shit. So it's either flush your money down the stool or go back to what you're known for. So I'm glad to hear that CZW is going back to the deathmatch style.
I would have to agree, because, like, pardon my dogs, but you bring up a good point. When they kind of got away from it for a little bit, people, like, their whole audience kind of seemingly just fluttered off, and now they're bringing stuff back. They held the Tournament of Death last year. I've actually interviewed quite a few people that were on that tournament, including the winner. So definitely excited. Make sure they're okay over there. But I'm excited to see that they're getting back to it, because when the thing with ECW going out of business, there was that lack of something for the extreme style that ECW filled that void.
I hear you.
And, you know, getting to see that they're getting back into what they're doing, I'm excited to see what they got coming. Another place that you've been at that I've heard some entertaining stories of, JCW, Juggalo Championship Wrestling. I've heard some pretty insane stories.
I have been to all 22 gathering of the Juggalos. I am the only active wrestler that has done something in the ring at all 22 gathering of the Juggalos. Mosh Pit Mike has been to all of them, but not as a wrestler, all of them. I am the wrestler that's been to all 22 gathering of the Juggalos, plus JCW, Hellfire, all the tours. I was in Japan during one of the tours, but yeah, I'm Juggalo Championship Wrestling. It's a trip, and I love every minute of it.
You got any? You got a story, like a crazy story that happened from there, like that one that jumps out to mind?
I will say that two things that happened there that I never would have ever thought in my life. In 2015, they came to me and said, "Hey, you're wrestling Terry Funk for the Juggalo Championship belt."
Okay.
That was a dream for a while. And then I went over, I won the belt off of Terry Funk. I mean, small town kid of 5,000 does some shit like that. And then they also put me versus the Great Muta on one of the JCW tours. It was me and Necro versus Nazawa and the Great Muta. And also, being was psychopathic. I'm from that small town, and I was a pretty big jack off in school, but who would have figured that this guy would do a speech in between the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington records versus the FBI. It was a political thing. I'm not a political guy, but those three things stick out big with me and Psychopathic.
All right. And, you know, you bring up Great Muta there. I mean, he just had that retirement match of his with Darby Allin and Sting there over in Noah. I heard that went pretty good.
Well, I'll tell you, I went to Muta and I said, fast elbow, okay? Because Great Muta gives the best elbows in the business. I don't give a fuck who they are. So I went to him, I said, fast elbow, okay? He said, knees are so bad now. Maybe no. I said, okay, no problem. So then maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes after that, he comes back over, he says, "You a big fan?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay, elbow's okay." So yeah, he did. He gave me a couple of them.
That is awesome. You know, definitely something to kind of take with you as you go. You know, you said getting to be in the ring with Terry Funk, the legend that he is, and you know, same thing with Great Muta there. Some awesome stuff to always carry with you.
That's right.
One place that, you know, you've been at that I'll admit that for a while I wasn't as familiar, but then GCW held, it was, I'm going to say, the Art of War games before this last one that actually had the Briscoes in it. Rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. But they, I believe it was the one where John Moxley ended up coming in at the end and winning the GCW title. They seem to be doing some pretty great things, especially when it comes to deathmatch style. I mean, they have a little bit of something for everybody there, but one of the things I see the shirt, one of the things they're known for is, deathmatch, where they got, John Wayne Murdoch, Alex Colon, which I loved having him on. What's it like, coming in with some of the young talent they got going through there, and with, more legends like yourself, Alex Colon, John Wayne Murdoch?
Well, that was why I got hit in the head with a cinder block, because there were 3 shows New Year's weekend. But what is everybody talking about? I can't believe Madman Pondo walked away from getting hit in the head with a cinder block. And the reason I let that go on, all these deathmatch workers are so much younger than me. And I'm really doing my best to still try to keep in this business. And God love them, but the kids are making it harder and harder on me every year. I have quit working for 3 or 4 promotions just because they lost faith in me. But GCW, they always take care of me while I'm there. So GCW is not one of those companies, but yeah, it's, and here's the thing. I don't watch wrestling. I don't sit at home and, I say that, but my buddies like going to WWE Raws when they're in town, and I can get tickets, so we'll go to that. But as far as me sitting home and just watching wrestling, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
So, but if something cool happens on Facebook while I'm skimming through, I'll watch that. But New Year's Eve, I was selling my book, and I sat out there and watched the matches, and all the matches were pretty damn entertaining. So, yeah, I feel JCW is a mix of a little bit of everything that everybody can enjoy, and I think that's why it works so well. Think about how many companies will advertise their show and not sell out. Brett will put up a flyer announcing a match and sell the fucker out. I'm so proud that every once in a while I get to work there at GCW.
Oh yeah, they definitely have their formula that works, and they do amazing. I'm hoping sometime if they get anywhere close, I'm in Omaha, Nebraska. So if they get anywhere close to here, I'm gonna try to get my butt over there, because I see, the shows on Fight TV. I got Fight Plus, so I can, just keep up with all of it. And
yeah,
those shows just look like so much fun just being there. So I'm like, damn it, I want to be there.
Well, just like when I abducted J.C. Bailey in the Hall of Fame, I got to hang out with Nick Gage and Whitebeater again, and we talked about Nate Hatred and our times in Japan, and Nick Mondo, guys that I was hanging out with back then. That one night, we all 4 hung out and had a great time. Mr. Insanity Toby Klein was there, and plus all the up and coming stars as well.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Lloyd, and it was just a great time. The time before that, when they inducted me in the GCW Hall of Fame, I got to hang out with Danny Havoc for the last time, and Slack, and Matt Tremont, just Marcus Crane. But because of all the deaths here lately, I want to throw this out there to all professional wrestlers, not just deathmatch workers, all professional wrestlers. Check it out. Time is not guaranteed for anybody. And our brothers are quickly dying off. So that word mark, when they say don't take the wrestlers, mark, dude, I'm a mark. Memories for the rest of my life. So wrestlers, please go out there and take pictures with. I can't tell you how many group shots here lately that I've taken. I get a whole bunch of wrestlers together. So wrestlers, do yourself a favor, get out there and make your memories.
Oh, definitely. And you bring up something that actually got discussed here locally for me recently after the death of wrestler promoter Jason Strife. He, there was a lot of people that were like, man, I don't have too many pictures with this person or that person. And then literally they've come up that, every show since, nobody's leaving without pictures getting taken with each other.
There you go.
So you brought that up. That made me think right to that. One thing you talked a little bit about is, not, just sitting at home watching wrestling like a lot of us fans out there. But with that, because I can understand that, when you have lived it for as long as you have, that, when you get home and you have your off time, you're probably wanting to watch some other stuff. But
I do. I watch a lot of movies, a lot of fucking movies.
So I actually got a question on one of my categories later for that. But is there anybody out there that, like, when you hear they got this going on or that going on, that you're like, you know what, I'll pay attention to that?
It's funny, but it's not even a young kid. It's PCO. Like, I am so impressed with PCO, the things that he is doing. You look at the Quebecers back in the day. Whoever thought that we would have the Canadian Frankenstein out of that? that guy amazes me. Like, I don't know. He just keeps on going, man. So yeah,
I can agree with that. I remember I went to a show for Wrestling Revolver, Sami Callihan's promotion, back, I want to say right before or right after Halloween. It was their Tales from the Ring show, and PCO was there in a Monsters Ball match. And that was the first time I got to see, like, I've seen him plenty on TV and stuff, but that was my first time being live right there. I think I was third row, and holy shit, the stuff that guy can put his body through and still get up, kicking and screaming. Oh man, it's something else.
I'll tell you another guy, because I was there for it. Great Sasuke. Come on, man. I don't know how old that dude is, but he's been putting his body through some shit too and still getting up and walking away.
No, totally.
I'm not trying to brag on myself, but Mania weekend 2019, I think, when I wrestled Matthew Justice, I got 2 ribs broke. One went inside my lung and ripped a hole, making it collapse. I went back to the ring and did another 7 minutes. I think that puts me in the Bad Motherfuckers Club, don't you?
You bring that up. I would say it would sure as hell be hard to argue against that, for sure.
Right.
Well, I have 2 categories that I kind of round things off with here.
right.
One, a bit of a name game. I try to go through, oftentimes putting my notes together. I'll go through sites like Cage Match and look through matches and be like, oh, you shared the ring in one way or another with these people. And
No
then
problem.
you give me your thoughts on them.
All right.
One was apparently at JCW, Abdullah the Butcher.
Abdullah the Butcher is the reason I made it in Japan. I wrestled Abdullah for a company called MRW, run by Mike Rogers and Ben Oliver. And Abdullah had such a good time. And I have told other wrestlers this story, and they're like, you're shitting me. Everybody knows that when Abdullah's done wrestling, he's done. He wants to sit down, get his money, and go the fuck home. We went out there, and he had some. I made it to the locker room first. I sat down. He come back there. He was like, yeah, let's go back out. And we went back out for another 5, 6, 7 minutes, something like that. So yeah, after we got done wrestling, he asked me if I was interested in going to Japan, and I was like, fuck yeah. So he said he was getting ready to leave for Japan in 4 days, but when he came back, make sure that I had a videotape in his restaurant, and the next time he went back to Japan, he would take it with him. I couldn't do it, man. I went right home, set up 2 VCRs, made a videotape, went to my post office, overnighted it to his restaurant, and he called me within 2 days and said, damn, champ, you really want to go to Japan, don't you? I said, yes, sir, I do. And 2008, 2000 to 2008, that's exactly what I did.
Awesome. Man, that is awesome how he kind of opened the door for you there. Next one, another guy that I'm trying to get on the show, a guy, one of my absolute favorites right now, John Wayne Murdoch.
Yeah, another cool story. I knew him back when he was Damian Payne, and he kept telling me he was interested in the more deathmatch style. But my God, now he dives in that shit, man. But yeah, real good friends with John Wayne Murdoch.
Man, he is an absolute machine when it comes to just wrestling in general, but especially deathmatch. The schedule that guy holds up is just insane.
That's it.
Next up, this guy had a little bit of a scary situation not all that long ago, but he came back and he is doing amazing things. Hoodfoot.
Oh yeah, Hoodfoot. So Hoodfoot even tell you that started like really fucking rolling was RPW when I wrestled him and he did the big squirting. But yeah, great future for Hoodfoot. Got nothing bad to say about that guy. Wish him nothing but the best.
I've become a huge fan of him. He's done some stuff for a promotion that is starting to do some traveling, but was based out in around the Des Moines, Iowa area, Mid-Def Pro, ran by the Carver. And he's been out there, so I'm hoping maybe they bring him back because I wouldn't mind getting to see him live. I haven't been able to do that yet, but hopefully someday. Next up, last but not least, they call him the king, the god of this shit, Nick fucking Gage.
Love Nick. So my first run at CZW was with Nick. I won the Ironman championship off of Nick, and it seems like every time we're together now, we talk about that because we did the big swerve where I was Z-Bar's cameraman, and then I hit Nick with with the camera, and everybody's like, "Oh, you better run!" And I took that mask off, and then everybody acted like the we just won the Super Bowl or something. So, yeah. Again, you're right. A lot of problems. He had a lot of demons, but he's overcome those, and he is our fucking god of wrestling, king of wrestling we have today.
Oh,
MDK,
totally. All fucking day.
That's right.
Definitely. And you bring up a good point. He's had his demons. He's had the bad stuff that's happened. But man, what a redemption story, and a story for anybody that has gone through bad times is like, you know what? He's been through it, but look at where he's going now. Doing
That's
all the
right.
good things he's doing. So if he can do it, you can get out there and you can have your own redemption story.
That's right. Exactly. I'm hoping that for G Raver. I know a lot of people are against G Raver right now, but addiction's a terrible thing.
Yes.
He's out right now. Him and Toby Klein, I think, are going to get together. I hooked him up. I'm like, Toby, hey, can you help G Raver out? But imagine all the shit G Raver did for deathmatch wrestling. Him and Jimmy Lloyd doing that glass fucking bridge that high. I mean, G Raver, I get it. People out there are probably going to hate on me even for saying this, but don't count him out. I mean, addiction can be fought. He'll even admit all his terrible shit happened on that addiction. I'm not even going to bring up what it was, but
yeah,
he's doing his best to heal it out and get in the ring. And I know they're going to hate on him. All I can say is give the guy a chance. They gave Nick Gage a chance. Give G Raver a chance.
Oh yeah, I can totally agree. Addiction is a scary monster. It causes lots of shit. But when it comes to people that, they've had their bad instances, but as long as they're trying to make good of it, they're trying to, turn things around, do things for the better. If they're showing that, hey, I'm doing all this, I'm trying, why not give them a second chance,
Right.
If they aren't showing that they're trying to improve and trying to make things better, then that's a whole different story. But if they're actively trying to make things better, then they deserve a shot. Next up,
hold on. I had Drake Younger wrote off a long time ago. He had terrible fucking demons. But look at him today. He reffed at WWE. He has a family, kids that he loves. They gave him a second chance, and boom, he ran with it. So I'm not saying everybody deserves a second chance at Ian fucking Rotten. His chances have killed itself. But
yeah,
some of those guys, give them a second chance.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. You've mentioned some other good names that definitely, and then you mentioned one that, you know what, he's definitely ran through his chances, but we'll keep it on the positive. The people that, they're actively trying to make things better. If they're showing that, they're trying to do it, give them a second chance, and then, see where it goes from there. Next up, I have a bit of a random question round. Some might be wrestling related, some might not be. I never really know until I put my notes together.
No problem.
First up, craziest in-match moment.
I'm sorry, craziest
in-match moment.
in-match moment. It's got to be those pencils, man. Like, I thought that was such a great idea, and it did get a huge pop. But 6 days after that, that shit got my bloodstream and just fucked me up bad. So
Oof.
I pray that other wrestlers don't follow my lead in that and leave those fucking things alone. It was not a fun thing. So yeah, craziest moment I'd say was those pencils.
It would be hard to argue against that. I'm saying it might be safe to say with my next question that is weapon to avoid being used in a match of yours. Pencils would probably be the safe bet for that.
Pencils are number one. Number two, razor wire, because razors are meant to cut. Barbed wire at least scratches, sometimes cuts, but razor wire, that'll fuck you up. Number three, I would say, is fire, because it's so unpredictable.
That is true.
So fire, number three. Razor wire, number two. Pencils, number fucking one.
Hard to argue against any of those. I remember personally being at a match where fire was used, and it was actually at that same show I saw PCO at, where the ending of it was bridging 2 panes of glass across some chairs, and then they lit the glass on fire. It was insane.
My buddy from Russia, Neighbor, however fuck to say his name. I remember before I even knew who he was, I watched him and a guy in a barefoot match catch their feet on fire. And I saw their pictures in the hospital. So I was dedicated to find out who this guy was in Russia, and I did. And I wrote him and I said, guys, what did you use? And they said, Petro. I said, straight up gasoline. I said, yeah. I said, no, find some lighter fluid. And me and that guy has so much ever since then.
I've had, believe it was Alex Colon actually tell me when it comes to weapon to avoid being used was actually toothpicks, which I imagine kind of in the same line with, skewers or maybe even pencils, but
right.
you get those in, you might get the whole thing out, but you break off the wrong piece, and then before you know it, you got that damn thing embedded in your skin and getting infected and shit.
I don't know if you saw the clip, but a referee had to put his teeth on one and pull it out of, I believe, Sage Sin.
You know what? I was just talking to somebody about that one. I believe it was actually Brawlin' Bo Cooper actually told me that story in particular.
Yeah.
That was insane. Well, you mentioned before about watching a lot of movies. What would you say are your top, we'll go 5?
Oh, man, that is so difficult. I like well-thought-out movies. I would say that Jaws is one. Jurassic Park is one.
Okay.
Dumb and Dumber.
Classic.
The Exorcist, I thought, was really well thought out. And just going through my Rolodex here, probably The Shining.
Okay, all classics. A little bit of a range of a few things. Got your comedy, got your horror. Good stuff. Last but not least, what would you say is your best advice for anybody wanting to get into wrestling?
I tell everybody this all the time. Here's a joke for you, and from every professional wrestler out there. What does a large supreme pizza and a professional wrestler not have in common?
I don't know.
A large supreme pizza can feed a family of 4.
Oh my God.
So, and things have changed. Like maybe paydays have gotten better, but when you get into the wrestling business, keep your shoot job. Don't think wrestling is gonna take care of everything, because it will fucking not. Some of these handsome guys can sell their tights and their gimmicks, and the girls will buy that shit. But some of them, maybe not. So that's my biggest advice. Don't think wrestling. How am I gonna put this? Wrestling owes you nothing. So make sure you respect wrestling and keep your job, because in the beginning might not work out that way, unless you have like Kerry Morton. I don't think, not only is Kerry Morton a great wrestler, but he also has his dad. So Kerry Morton probably will not have to worry about good players in wrestling. Another one, Billy Starks. She's not have to worry about it. Charlie Crew's not have to worry about it. So I have to worry about it. There's a handful of wrestlers out there that won't have to worry about it, but there's not enough hands for everybody. So keep your shoot job.
Have that backup plan, but you're very much right. There are those out there that, wrestling being what it is for them, and like you mentioned, Billy Starks in particular, holy shit, the stuff that she's been up to, and the sky's the limit for her, definitely.
That's right.
But anyways, lastly, where can people find you social media wise? That way, if they don't already have their eyes on you, they can go ahead and get them there.
I have a Twitter and an Instagram, but Billy Stark's dad made them for me. I don't know shit about them. I was writing people, and nobody was writing me back, and I was like, you bunch of fucking assholes, but I didn't know you had to put at in front of their names, so that tells you just how goddamn dumb computer-wise I am. So, if you go to Facebook, my name is Kevin Kennedy, Canady, police officer. Police officer, Canady. You can write me on there, and now I have a Madman Pondo Facebook page, so you can write me on there. If you're looking for a Madman Pondo t-shirt, you can go to deathmatchworldwide.com. Not only are my t-shirts on there, but a lot of your favorite deathmatch workers are on deathmatchworldwide.com. Tell Corey Higdon I sent you. He's not going to give you anything cheaper, but it'll make you look good.
Hey.
And then if you're interested in reading my book, which I don't get too many bad reviews on, and people talk about how funny it was, and if you bring it to a show where I've just done a death match, I will give it the old bloody thumbprint on the first page. You can write John Cosper at eatsleepwrestle.com and ask him about an autograph copy. And that's about where you can find me right there.
All righty. We'll get, information for that in the description, both the YouTube and podcast platform versions. Want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me tonight. I know you're on the road right now, but thank you. It was so awesome getting to have you on.
Oh, thank you for your time, man. If it wasn't for guys like you, I'd probably just be sitting at the house not doing anything.
You're welcome back anytime, and feel free to put in a good word for me with
I
anybody.
will do it. I will talk
Alrighty.
to John Wayne Murdoch for you. How's that?
All right.
All right, everybody. Want to thank the sponsor today, Reaper Apparel. Want to encourage everybody to break out of the comfort zone, live their best self, which I very much support. They got great apparel, hats, shirts, beanies, hoodies, all that good shit. Be sure when you go on to reaperapparel.com, use the code DRINKIN for 10% off your order. Let's fucking go.